The night was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that made even the ticking clock sound loud. Rain dripped from the roof of Alex's small wooden cabin, lost deep in the forest. He sat by the fire, rubbing his tired hands. It had been a long day at the workshop fixing old machines no one else cared about. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. Lightning flashed once, lighting up the wet trees through the window. Alex sighed, closing his eyes. He was about to fall asleep on the couch when, knock, knock, a sound. Soft but clear. His eyes opened slowly. He thought maybe it was the wind, but then it came again, knock, knock, knock. Now it was faster, urgent. Alex stood up. It was midnight. No one came to his door at that hour. His heart began to beat, faster as he reached for the flashlight on the table. He moved quietly to the door and listened. Nothing. Only the sound of rain and the forest. Breathing in the dark, then a voice, small and trembling, whispered from outside. "Please, help. My mom can't breathe." Alex froze. The voice was of a little girl. He quickly opened the door. There, standing in the rain, was a child, maybe 7 or 8 years old. But she wasn't human. Her skin glowed faint blue under the lightning, like moonlight trapped beneath water. Her eyes were big and silver, reflecting the firelight from inside. She wore torn clothes made of strange fabric that shimmered like mist. Alex's hand trembled around the door handle. What are you?" he whispered. The girl didn't answer. Her lips were quivering and she clutched a small device in her hand, something like a metallic sphere. Her other hand was covered in silver blood. She looked up at him with fear and desperation. "Please," she whispered again. "My mom can't breathe. Please help her." For a long second, Alex just stared. His mind told him to shut the door and call the police. But something in her trembling voice, something deeply human, made him forget his fear. "Come inside," he said softly. But the girl shook her head. "No time, she's dying." Then she turned and ran, fast, through the rain into the trees. Alex's instincts took over. He grabbed his med kit from the shelf, threw on his jacket, and followed her with the flashlight. The beam of light danced wildly as he pushed through wet branches and slippery mud. The forest was dark, alive with the sound of rain. Every step he took, the girl moved ahead like a flicker of blue light, leading him deeper and deeper. Finally, he saw it, a crash site. Half buried under broken trees was a small metallic ship, its surface scorched and cracked. Smoke rose from the wreckage, glowing faintly with strange colors. The girl ran inside through a broken door. Alex followed, coughing from the smell of burnt metal. Inside, blinking lights flickered weakly, and a strange humming filled the air. Then he saw her, the mother. An alien woman lay on the floor, her skin pale blue like her daughter's, but dull and lifeless. She was gasping, her chest moving weakly, eyes half open. Alex rushed to her side, checking her pulse. Slow but present. Her breathing was shallow, strained. He looked around and noticed something like a cracked oxygen tank made of crystal. Okay, hang on," he muttered. He opened his med kit, pulling out his small oxygen mask and tube. He tried to attach it to her strange anatomy, adjusting the straps. The girl watched silently, tears running down her glowing cheeks. "Please save her," she whispered. Alex turned the valve, letting the air flow. The mother took a long, sharp breath, her body shaking. Then slowly, her breathing steadied. Alex exhaled with relief. "She's stabilizing, but she needs real help." "I have to get you both out of here." The girl looked around nervously. "No, we can't. They'll find us." "Who?" he asked. Before she could answer, a deep mechanical sound echoed through the forest, like engines roaring above. The girl's eyes widened. "They found us." Alex stepped to the door, shining his light outside. The rain was still falling, but now he saw red lights moving between the trees. Shadows of tall figures in armor carrying glowing weapons. "Get down," he whispered, pulling the girl and her mother behind the wreckage. The ground shook as one of the ships landed nearby. Through the cracks of the hull, Alex saw black silhouettes scanning the area. Their helmets had red lenses that pulsed as they moved. The girl clung to Alex's arm, trembling. He looked at her, then at her mother, then at the approaching figures. He didn't understand who these beings were or why they were hunting a child and her mother. But he knew one thing. He couldn't let them die here. The rain poured harder, masking their breaths. Alex picked up the girl and whispered, "Stay quiet." He crawled toward the back of the ship, searching for a way out. Each step was slow, careful. The lights grew brighter behind them, closer. Then suddenly, a metallic sound. Something dropped from the ceiling, a small device glowing blue. The girl gasped, "No!" A flash of light filled the wreckage and everything went white. When Alex opened his eyes, everything was quiet again. Too quiet. The air smelled like metal and smoke. His head throbbed, and for a moment he couldn't remember where he was. Then it came back in a rush. The little girl, the alien ship, her dying mother, and the blinding flash. He groaned softly and sat up. The rain outside had stopped, but the world was still drenched and cold. The ship's walls were cracked and faint blue light pulsed weakly from the strange panels. "Are you okay?" he whispered. The little girl was beside him, curled up, shaking. Her glowing skin was dimmer now, and her silver eyes shimmered with fear. "My name's Alex," he said gently, trying to sound calm. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head slowly. "No, but they are still searching." He listened. Far away through the dripping trees came the faint hum of engines. Whoever those soldiers were, they hadn't gone far. Alex took a deep breath. "We can't stay here." The girl nodded weakly, then looked toward the broken part of the ship where her mother lay. The alien woman was still breathing, and barely. Her chest rose and fell with effort, her face pale and cold. Alex crawled closer and checked her pulse again. "She's still alive," he murmured. "But she needs air, real air. I have to move her out." The girl hesitated. "If we leave, the trackers will find us." "Trackers?" Alex frowned. She pointed to a small blinking device near the wreckage. "They planted it when they shot us down. It tells them where we are." Alex stared at it, a small black sphere pulsing red. He knew that light anywhere. A beacon. He grabbed a metal rod from the floor and smashed it, sparks flying as the light went dark. "Not anymore." The girl's eyes widened. "You destroyed it?" "Yeah," he said, breathless. "And now we need to get your mom somewhere safe before they come back." She stood slowly, her bare feet silent on the metal floor. "I can show you the way." Alex lifted the alien woman as carefully as he could. She was lighter than he expected, almost weightless, her skin cool to the touch. The girl led the way out of the ship and into the misty woods. The forest was thick, the moonlight barely reaching through the leaves. Every sound, every twig snap, it made Alex's heart race faster. "How far?" he whispered. "Not far," she said. "There's an old cave near the water." As they walked, Alex looked at her. Despite her alien features, the soft glow, the silver eyes, the strange veins that shimmered faintly, she looked human in her fear. Her small hands clenched tightly around the strange metallic sphere she carried. "What's your name?" he asked softly. She hesitated. "Leora. That's a nice name," he said, trying to smile. "And your mom?" "Seren." "Okay, Leora. Let's get Seren safe." They reached the cave, a narrow opening between mossy rocks. Inside, the air was damp but dry enough for a fire. Alex laid Seren on a flat stone surface and pulled out his blanket. He wrapped her carefully and checked her breathing again. Still weak but steady. Then, using the flashlight, he searched his medkit. He connected the oxygen tube again and adjusted it to her face. The hiss of air filled the cave. Leora sat beside her mother, holding her hand tightly. For a long moment, they said nothing. Only the sound of the rain dripping outside and serene, slow breaths filled the silence. Finally, Alex asked quietly, "Who were they?" "The ones chasing you." Leora's eyes flickered with sadness. "They are the hunters, soldiers from our own world. My mother discovered something forbidden, something they wanted to keep secret. They destroyed our home because of it." Alex frowned. "And you crashed here?" She nodded. "We were trying to find a place to hide, but they followed." Alex sat back, trying to process it. Aliens, soldiers, forbidden knowledge, and it sounded impossible. Yet here they were, right in front of him. He looked at Serene again, then at the small glowing sphere Leora held. "What's that thing you're carrying?" Leora held it up gently. "It's the heart of our ship, and the key to saving our people. Without it, they will die." Alex blinked. "So that's what they're after." Leora nodded. "If they find it, everything ends." A distant sound cut her words short, the low hum of engines again. The red glow of search drones flickered through the trees outside. "They're coming," Alex whispered. Leora's silver eyes widened in fear. He grabbed his flashlight and turned it off. "Stay here. Don't move until I say." He crept to the mouth of the cave, peeking through the vines. Two dark drones hovered close, scanning the ground with red lasers. Alex's heart pounded. He looked back at Leora, small, frightened, clutching the glowing sphere, and then at her unconscious mother. He knew there was no turning back now. He had already crossed the line between his world and hers, and the night was far from over. The forest was darker than before, the kind of darkness that swallowed sound. Alex crouched low near the cave's mouth, his breath slow, his hand gripping a broken branch like a weapon. Outside, two hovering drones glided through the mist, their red scanning beams sweeping across the ground. They made no noise except a soft hum that sent shivers down his spine. Behind him, Leora held her mother close. Serene's breathing was still uneven, the oxygen tube barely keeping her stable. The soft glow of her alien skin flickered weakly in the dark like a fading candle. Alex motioned for silence. "Don't move," he whispered. The drones paused near the wreckage site. Then one turned toward the direction of the cave. Its sensors blinked faster. It had caught something. Alex's heart pounded. "Damn," he breathed. He scanned the ground. A trail of muddy footprints led straight to the cave. His own, he had led them right here. The hum grew louder as the drone floated closer. Alex looked back. "Stay with your mom," he whispered to Leora. No sound. No light. Then he stepped outside into the wet grass. The drone froze in midair, its red lens focusing on him. A mechanical voice hissed, "Human detected." Alex squinted against the rain. "And you're trespassing on private land." The machine didn't reply. A second drone appeared beside the first. Both aimed small blasters that started glowing red-hot. Alex took a slow step back. He didn't know what these things were capable of, but judging by the burn marks on the alien ship, it wasn't good. Suddenly, from deep within the forest, several figures emerged, tall, armored, and silent. Their suits were black like shadows, their helmets smooth and faceless. They moved with perfect precision, not a single sound of breath or voice. Alex swallowed hard. He counted 4 of them. Each carried a rifle that glowed faintly blue at the edge. One of them raised a hand and the drones floated back like trained pets. Alex didn't move. The leader stepped forward, tilting his head as if scanning him. Then through a metallic voice filter it spoke. "Human, you are not the target. Leave now." Alex's jaw tightened. "And what if I don't?" The alien's visor glowed brighter. "Then you will join them in silence." For a brief moment, the forest flashed with lightning, and Alex saw the reflection of Leora's silver eyes peeking from the cave behind him. He realized instantly what would happen if he ran. He'd lead them straight to her. So, he stood his ground. "I don't know who you are," he said slowly, "but I won't let you hurt them." The soldiers didn't seem surprised. One raised his weapon and aimed. Alex acted on instinct. He ducked, grabbed a stone, and threw it at the soldier's helmet. It cracked against the glass, and for a split second the soldier stumbled. That second was enough. Alex sprinted sideways away from the cave, crashing through the bushes. The soldiers followed, their boots hitting the mud like thunder. Blaster beams cut through the darkness, slicing trees, burning leaves. He didn't look back. He just ran. Every breath felt like fire in his lungs. The forest flashed with red and blue light. He ducked behind a fallen tree, panting, heart hammering. The soldiers stopped a few meters away, scanning in silence. Their helmets turned left and right, mechanical, emotionless. Then, without warning, they turned back toward the cave. Alex's blood went cold. They knew. "No," he whispered. He grabbed a thick branch, stood up and yelled, "Hey! Over here!" The helmets turned toward him instantly. He ran again, this time straight toward the river. The terrain was steep, full of wet rocks and roots, but he didn't stop. Behind him, laser shots exploded against trees, lighting up the night. He reached the edge of a small cliff, 10 feet high, with a rushing stream below. He looked back once. The soldiers were closing in. "Sorry, physics," he muttered, and jumped. Cold water swallowed him. He sank disoriented before kicking to the surface. The current dragged him away fast, out of sight. When he finally climbed out on the far bank, coughing and soaked, he could still see the red glow of the soldiers across the river. But they didn't cross. They scanned the area, then turned back toward the shipwreck. He lay on the wet ground, shivering, breathing hard. His muscles ached. His heart wouldn't slow down. He had bought Leora and her mother time, but not much. He looked up at the stars breaking through the storm clouds. "Whoever you are," he whispered. "You picked the wrong planet." In the distance, faint lights blinked from the wreckage site. Not red this time, but blue. Something inside the ruined ship was waking up again, and Alex knew this was only the beginning. By the time Alex returned to the cave, dawn was beginning to paint the forest in pale silver light. His clothes were soaked, his hands scratched and bruised, but he didn't care. The only thing in his mind was whether Leora and her mother were still safe. He pushed through the vines and stepped inside. The soft blue glow of the cave walls greeted him, faint, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Leora jumped up from beside her mother when she saw him. "You came back," she whispered, relief flooding her small face. "Of course I did," Alex said, breathless. "How's your mom?" Leora looked down. Seren's breathing was slow but steady. Her chest rose and fell in rhythm with the flicker of blue light that spread faintly from her skin. "She's sleeping," Leora said softly. "She's healing." "I think," Alex knelt beside her. "Good, because we've got trouble. Those things and the soldiers, they're still out there. They were searching the crash site when I left." Leora's hands tightened around the small metallic sphere she always held. "Then they'll find us soon." Alex looked around the cave, thinking. He couldn't fight those creatures. Not with sticks and stones, but he couldn't abandon them either. "Listen," he said finally. "We'll figure it out. But first I need to understand what's happening. Why are they after you and your mom? Who are they?" For a long moment, Leora said nothing. The only sound was the slow dripping of water from the cave ceiling. Then softly she began to speak. "My mother, she was a scientist. On our world, Urindra, we used to live in towers that touched the clouds, but something went wrong with our air. The sky began to die." Alex frowned. "The sky?" She nodded. "Our air systems, they were built long ago by the ancients. Machines that gave us clean air to breathe, but the council and the rulers didn't want to fix them. They said the people didn't deserve to live longer. My mother found a way to repair them, but when she tried to share the secret, they sent the hunters." Her voice cracked a little. "They destroyed our home. We escaped, barely." Alex felt a chill crawl down his spine. He looked at Seren, the pale woman who had risked everything to save her people, now lying half dead in a cave on Earth. He swallowed hard. "And that thing you're holding in the sphere. What is it?" Leora held it close to her chest. "It's called the breath core. It controls the machines that give life to our planet. Without it, our world will turn to dust." Alex stared at it. The sphere hummed faintly, casting shifting patterns of blue light across the cave walls. It looked alive, like it was breathing. "So that's what those soldiers want," Alex said slowly. "They want to stop your mom's discovery from spreading." Leora nodded. "They want everyone silent. Even us." Silence fell again. Then, to Alex's surprise, Seren stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, silver and glowing faintly in the dim cave light. Leora gasped and leaned forward. "Mom!" Serene turned her head weakly, her gaze landing on Alex. She looked confused at first, then calm. Her voice was soft, musical, though heavy with pain. "Human." Alex leaned closer. "You're safe. You were injured, but you're breathing better now." Serene blinked slowly. "You helped us." "Yeah," he said quietly. "You can thank your daughter. She wouldn't give up on you." A faint smile touched Seren's lips. She reached out with trembling fingers and placed a hand over Alex's. Her skin was cool, but her touch gentle. "You saved more than 2 lives tonight," she whispered. "You saved hope." Before Alex could respond, a faint sound echoed from outside. A low rumble, mechanical and distant. The ground beneath them trembled slightly. Leora's eyes widened. "They're scanning again." Alex stood quickly. "We can't stay here." Seren tried to sit up but winced. "The breath core. It can hide us in for a short time." She nodded toward the device in Leora's hands. The little girl looked down at it, unsure. "But I don't know how." Serene whispered something in her own language, a string of soft syllables that echoed through the cave. The sphere responded, glowing brighter, then dimming to a faint pulse. The rumble outside grew quieter, as if fading away. Alex blinked. "What did it do?" "It bent the air," Seren said weakly. "For now, we are invisible." Leora smiled with relief, but Seren's voice grew faint again. It won't last long. You must find a place safer than this. Alex clenched his jaw. Then we move at first light. Serene's silver eyes met his. You risk much for those not of your world. He gave a tired smile. Yeah, well, humans have a bad habit of helping people who knock on their doors at midnight. Serene's eyes softened. Then perhaps your kind is what ours has been missing. Outside, the storm had stopped. The first light of sunrise broke through the trees, painting the forest gold. But deep in that cave, Alex felt the weight of a truth heavier than dawn. They hadn't just saved an alien life. They had become part of something far greater and far more dangerous. The morning light didn't last long. Within an hour, dark clouds returned, heavy, gray, and rolling across the sky like a warning. The forest grew cold again and the wind began to rise. Alex tightened the straps on his backpack. Inside were his medkit, a few tools, and a small power cell from the alien wreck. He glanced at Leora, who was helping her mother sit up. Serene looked stronger now, but her eyes were still dull with exhaustion. We can't stay here anymore, Alex said quietly. They'll come back. That shield thing won't hide us forever. Serene nodded weakly. You are right, but we can't go far without energy. The breath core is dying. Leora held the glowing sphere close to her chest. Its blue light was fading, pulsing slower and weaker than before. How do we fix it? She asked. Serene turned to Alex. It needs hydronium, a mineral that can restore its charge. You humans once mined it here, did you not? Alex frowned. Hydronium, yeah. I think I know where. The old factory mines down by the ravine. But that place was shut years ago and flooded after a storm. Serene's voice trembled but steady. Then that is where we must go. Alex sighed. Figures. He grabbed his jacket and motioned for them to follow. Let's move before the weather catches us. The rain began slowly, a few drops tapping on the leaves, then came all at once heavy and loud. Thunder cracked above as they trudged through the muddy path. Leora walked beside Alex, her small hand gripping his sleeve for balance. Were you scared? She asked suddenly. When you saw me the first time? Alex smiled faintly despite the storm. Terrified. Leora tilted her head, confused. Then why did you help me? He looked down at her. Because you knocked. She didn't understand, but she smiled anyway. A small, innocent smile that cut through the darkness around them. By the time they reached the ravine, the storm had grown wild. Trees bent under the wind, and lightning flashed so close the air itself seemed to shiver. Alex pointed ahead. There, the mine entrance. It was half buried under fallen branches, water flowing past the rusted gate. A broken warning sign read, "Danger, keep out." He forced the gate open, its hinges screaming in protest. The inside smelled of rust, earth, and silence. Stay close, Alex said as his flashlight cut through the dark. The narrow tunnels twisted like veins underground. Water dripped from the ceiling, echoing off the stone. Leora walked carefully, holding the dim breath core in her hands. Its glow reflected on the wet walls, throwing strange shadows that danced around them. Suddenly, a metallic click echoed behind them. Alex froze. Did you hear that? Leora nodded slowly. Her eyes widened as faint red lights appeared down the tunnel. The hunters. How? Alex began, but Seren's voice cut him off. They followed the core's signal. We stayed too long. Blaster beams hissed through the dark. One hit the wall near Alex, sending sparks across the tunnel. He grabbed Leora's hand and ran. Go, move! They dashed deeper into the mine, water splashing under their feet. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber where old machines lay broken and rusted. There, Serene pointed weakly toward a large metal tank at the far end. That's the hydronium extractor. Alex ran to it, wiping grime from the control panel. Most of the system was dead, but one power light blinked faintly. He slammed his hand against the switch. Nothing. Come on, come on. Leora stepped beside him, placing the glowing core near the panel. Its faint blue energy sparked, wires hissed, and the old machine roared to life for the first time in years. The sound echoed through the mine like thunder. Alex turned a valve, and glowing blue liquid began to pour into a small canister. It's working, he shouted, but his victory was short-lived. The hunters entered the chamber, their weapons glowing bright. Alex turned, too late. A shot hit the wall beside him, throwing him off balance. The canister slipped from his hands and rolled toward a pit of water below. Leora screamed. Alex, without thinking, he dove after it. He hit the ground hard, the world spinning around him. Pain shot through his leg, something cracked. But he caught the canister before it slid away. Got it, he gasped, limping toward them. The hunters closed in fast. Leora's hands shook as she took the canister and placed it into the core. Blue light exploded outward, brighter, stronger than before. The air itself trembled. The core's energy pulsed through the chamber, knocking the hunters back. Their visors flickered and one of them fell into the pit, disappearing into the dark water below. Alex shielded his eyes. What the hell is happening? Serene's voice rose, filled with both awe and sorrow. The core. It's alive again. The blue light spread through the tunnels, swallowing the shadows and pushing the storm's roar away. When the light faded, silence returned. The hunters were gone. Only the faint hum of the recharged core remained. Alex dropped to his knees, exhausted but alive. Remind me never to doubt alien science again. Leora knelt beside him, eyes shining. You saved us again, he gave a tired smile. No, kid. We saved each other. Outside, thunder rolled one last time and then faded. The storm was ending, but the real storm Alex knew was still to come. The rain stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The air inside the mine felt heavy and still, carrying the scent of wet stone and smoke. Blue light from the recharged core flickered softly across the walls, making shadows stretch and fade like ghosts retreating from dawn. Alex sat on the ground, drenched and exhausted. His leg throbbed and his shirt was torn from the fall. Leora was beside him, still holding the glowing sphere in both hands as if it were something holy. Serene slowly approached, her movements graceful, yet weak. The faint silver glow of her skin had returned, brighter than before. For the first time, she looked less like a dying stranger, and more like someone coming back to life. Alex tried to stand, but Serene stopped him gently. Rest, you've done enough for now, he smiled faintly. That's not really my style. Leora giggled quietly, her voice echoing softly through the chamber. For a moment, there was peace, but then the mine rumbled, a low vibration beneath their feet. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Alex's head snapped up. Tell me that's not another hunter. Serene shook her head. No, the core, it's connecting. Its signal is reaching beyond this world. What do you mean? Alex asked. The breath core was never meant for one planet, Serene explained. It connects life systems, energy, air, balance. When reactivated, it calls out to its origin, seeking to heal all that is dying. Alex frowned. You mean it's sending a signal back to your world? Serene nodded slowly. And others may hear it too. That didn't sound good. Before he could respond, the core pulsed brightly again. A wave of warmth rolled through the air, a living energy that hummed against their skin. The walls began to shimmer, revealing strange glowing veins in the stone like roots of light spreading outward. Leora gasped. It's breathing. The core rose slowly from her hands, floating in midair. Blue light wrapped around it in swirling ribbons, and with every pulse, the air in the chamber grew fresher, warmer, alive. Alex took a deep breath. It felt different, lighter, sharper, as if the air itself had been reborn. Serene smiled faintly. It's restoring the balance. But before they could celebrate, another tremor shook the ground, stronger this time. The light around the core flared white, and cracks spidered across the mine's ceiling. Alex cursed under his breath. It's going to bring the whole place down. Serene looked at the glowing sphere. It must release its energy into the open air. If we stay underground, we'll die. Alex grabbed his backpack and helped Serene to her feet. Then we get it out, I'm fast. Leora clutched her mother's hand, eyes wide. But what if they find us again? Serene looked down at her daughter with tired but calm eyes. Then we face them together. They ran through the tunnels, guided by the light of the floating core. The deeper rumbles behind them grew louder, chasing them like thunder through stone. When they burst into the open forest, the world outside looked strange, glowing faintly blue as if touched by the same breath that filled the mine. Wind rushed around them, but it didn't sting. It felt soft, alive. The trees seemed to sway slower, as if listening. Alex set Serene down on a dry patch of ground, his chest heaving. Now what? Let it finish, she whispered. It must share its life. The core floated higher, spinning gently. Its light expanded, forming a dome of shimmering air that covered the clearing. Inside, the rain-soaked earth began to steam, and wildflowers started to bloom, small and glowing like stars. Leora gasped in wonder. "It's beautiful." Alex could only stare. The dome pulsed once more, sending out waves of light that vanished into the clouds above. But beauty came with a price. Far in the sky, multiple red dots appeared, hunter ships, descending fast. The signal had drawn them. Serene's expression hardened. "They're coming." Alex clenched his fists. "Then we need to run." Serene shook her head. "No, we cannot outrun them. The Corps must finish what it started. If we leave now, it will die again, and my people will perish with it." Alex looked at her, then at Leora, standing small and trembling beside her mother. The storm clouds above glowed with the blue light of the Corps, and thunder rolled like the beating of a giant heart. "All right," Alex said finally. "Then we hold the line." He picked up a piece of alien metal from the crash site, sharp and curved like a blade. His heart raced, but there was no fear now. Just determination. Leora looked up at him. "Why do you keep helping us?" Alex smiled, eyes fixed on the sky. "Because someone has to remind your people what mercy looks like." The Corps flared again, its light spreading across the clearing like a rising sun. Above them, the first hunter ship broke through the clouds. Serene placed a hand over her daughter's heart. "Stay close," she whispered. "The breath of life will protect us." The air around them shimmered, the dome tightening, glowing brighter, almost blinding. And as the storm returned with the roar of engines and wind, Alex stood tall beside them, ready to face whatever came next. The night had given him fear. The storm had given him courage. But this was the breath of life. The sky split open with light. Hunter ships descended through the clouds like falling stars, red, silent, and full of death. The clearing trembled as their engines burned the air. Alex stood in front of the glowing dome, chest heaving, gripping the curved alien blade tighter. Behind him, Leora and Serene stood near the floating breath core, its light now brighter than ever, pulsing like the heartbeat of the planet itself. "Stay behind me," Alex said, voice steady though his heart thundered in his chest. Leora clung to her mother's hand. "There's so many." Serene placed her other hand gently on the girl's shoulder. "Numbers mean nothing against truth." The first hunter touched down, metal boots hitting the wet soil. Then another and another until 6 armored figures stood around the clearing. Their visors glowed crimson. Their leader raised a hand, voice metallic and cold. "Return the core. This world does not belong to you." Alex stepped forward. "Funny," he said, tightening his grip, "because I live here. And as far as I can tell, this world belongs to anyone who breathes." A moment of silence. Then the leader aimed his weapon. "Then you will stop breathing." The blaster fired. Alex moved before he could think, diving aside as a beam of energy scorched the ground where he'd been. He rolled, mud splashing across his face, and threw the blade. It hit one soldier square in the chest, sparks flying. The soldier stumbled back, armor cracked, but there were too many. Shots cut through the clearing, burning through trees and air. Alex ducked behind a fallen trunk, heart pounding. Every shot made the core flicker brighter, as if it felt their rage. Behind him, Leora cried out, "Mom!" Serene had stepped forward, her eyes glowing silver white, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Enough!" She raised her hand toward the hunters. The ground trembled, air shimmered, and the breath core rose higher, bathing the clearing in a radiant blue storm. The hunters froze mid-step. Their armor flickered, light sputtering. "The air itself rejects you," Serene whispered, her voice like thunder hidden in wind. One of the hunters fired again, but the beam dissolved before it reached her. The core's light curved around the shot like a living shield. Alex stared, awe and fear mixing inside him. He had seen machines and storms, but this was something divine. Serene turned to him, her face pale but peaceful. "The Corps has chosen. It will give back what was lost," he frowned. "What does that mean?" She smiled weakly. "It means—" "We can't stay," Leora gasped. "No, Mom, no." I said we would live," Serene whispered. "And we will. But not here." The core flared again, and a thin beam of light shot into the sky, cutting through the clouds like a signal. The hunter ships froze mid-air, their lights blinking out one by one. The forest grew quiet, every sound swallowed by the glow. Then, one by one, the hunters fell. Their armor shut down, lifeless, sinking into the mud. The storm was gone. Alex stepped forward, chest heaving. "You did it," he whispered. Serene nodded, but her legs trembled. "The Corps has finished its purpose here. It will take us home." Leora's eyes filled with tears. "But what about him?" She looked at Alex desperately. "He helped us. He saved us." Serene reached out and touched Alex's face gently. "He was the breath that reached us when we could no longer breathe." Humanity still remembers kindness. The core pulsed again, slower now, almost like a heartbeat fading. A soft hum filled the air, and the ground around them began to glow in circular patterns, a portal forming beneath Serene and her daughter. Alex shook his head. "Wait, there's got to be another way." Serene smiled sadly. "There is always another way, but it belongs to your kind now." Leora broke free from her mother and ran to Alex, throwing her small arms around him. "I don't want to go." Alex knelt, his voice tight with emotion. "You have to. Your world needs you, Leora, and you're going to make it better, just like your mom." She sniffed, tears glowing faintly on her cheeks. "Will we meet again?" He smiled softly. "If the universe breathes, then maybe someday, yes." Serene placed a hand over her daughter's shoulder. "It is time." The light grew brighter, wrapping around them like wind turned to silk. Leora looked at Alex one last time. "Goodbye, human." The glow swallowed them whole. When it faded, the clearing was silent. The flowers glowed faintly blue in the morning light. The breath core was gone. Only a small shard of crystal lay where they had stood, its surface pulsing once, then going still. Alex picked it up, holding it in his palm. It was warm, alive. He smiled through the ache in his chest. "Goodbye, little one," he whispered, "and thank you for reminding me what it means to be human." He slipped the shard into his pocket and looked up. The clouds were clearing, the air crisp and bright, fresher than it had ever been. As the sun broke through, painting the world gold, Alex turned toward home. He didn't know what came next, but he knew one thing for sure. Somewhere, far across the stars, a mother and daughter could breathe again. And for the first time in years, so could he.